Pandora, also commonly known as Avatar Land, is all set to open in just a few months. And one of the most common questions I've seen is, why? It doesn't make any sense. I'm here to tell you why it did make sense. At least at the time. That's the key part of it, isn't it? At least at the time. To get a better understanding of why Disney is opening a themed area dedicated to James Cameron's sci-fi epic, you have to look at the context of the time. Let's start in the summer of 2007. If you don't remember that summer, or perhaps you were too young, Harry Potter was immensely popular. Not only was the fifth film in the popular franchise set to release that year, but the world would also be getting the final book in the series. The films in the series at that point were grossing nearly $1 billion each, and there were still 3 more planned for the future. Most importantly, that would be the summer that Universal would announce their plans for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, a themed land in one of their parks dedicated to the franchise. For context, in 2007, Bob Iger was just 2 years into his role as Disney CEO and had just spent a whopping $7.4 billion on Pixar the year before. It's also important to note that in 2007, Disney did not own Marvel, they did not own Star Wars. Now let's jump ahead to December of 2009. James Cameron and 20th Century Fox releases Avatar. The film is a massive success that blends science fiction with a tale of preserving nature. It goes on to gross a total of $2.7 billion, making it the highest grossing film to this day. Furthermore, it would only be a matter of weeks after the premiere before Cameron would announce his intention of making more Avatar films. The following year, in 2010, Universal opened the first portion of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It's not only met with critical praise by guests and the media, but it would help Universal boost their revenue the following year. Disney, meanwhile, would be just a year into their ownership of Marvel. The Marvel Cinematic Universe would still be in its infancy as an untested concept. That said, even if it was a wild success, which it was, it wouldn't matter, thanks to a carried over contract between Marvel and Universal that gave Universal theme park rights east of the Mississippi for Marvel properties. That brings us to 2011. Disney announces that it is working in partnership with James Cameron to bring Avatar to the Animal Kingdom. The original planned opening date for this is 2016. The original release for Avatar 2 was 2 years before that in 2014. So there's the context. When Disney penned this deal to bring Avatar to the parks, they didn't own Star Wars, a series that had seemingly ended with Episode 3 6 years earlier. They owned Marvel, but couldn't use it thanks to a contract still in effect, and they owned Pixar, but were busy working it into the parks already over in California with Cars Land. They're feeling the pressure to step up their game after the Wizarding World shows them that guests want themed worlds based on franchises they love. And along comes Avatar, a well-received sci-fi space opera with a heavy focus on nature that just became the largest grossing film of all time, with a sequel just a few years away and more films planned after that. To Hollywood, the world was potentially about to experience the next Star Wars phenomenon with Avatar. With all of that said, the question becomes, why wouldn't Disney put Avatar in the Animal Kingdom? It was a gamble that offered a massive payoff for Disney. Now, of course, that gamble is at the risk right now of being a big loss. As we know, Avatar films faced numerous delays, to the point where Avatar 2 hasn't even begun filming yet, over 7 years later. Pandora itself faced setbacks, missing its 2016 opening by a year, and as a result of the combination of the two, people are starting to ask what appeal still exists for a theme land based on that world. So why didn't Disney cancel it? Well, by the time Avatar missed its first release window, Disney had already broken ground on construction of Pandora. Forgetting the possibility that contractual obligations might have made it too expensive for them to pull out of that deal, it's likely that they had already spent a significant amount of money on the planning and development of Pandora just to cancel it? And really, what else would they have done with it? Star Wars was in the works, but is Disney really going to put their new prize jewel in the Animal Kingdom? Marvel was still a no-go, and while today's Zootopia sounds like it would be a nice fit, it was still in its pre-production infancy and a far ways from being proven as worthy for a project that large. The truth is, for better or worse, sticking with Pandora and Avatar was probably the best choice for them at the time. So the real question becomes, will it pay off for them in the long run? The answer?
Could it be